Sorry we got cut off, but my phone only has so much space and I'm not that technical, but I didn't say some things that are terribly important really, because I left it to say, as you would have guessed, that, anything really worthwhile is going to cost. And, like athletes and things, and you'd be excused for saying, well, I've got enough problems, I'm going to be mediocre. Why should I have to strive for that? And I sympathise with that. But the point is not that really. It's far beyond that, and we don't really see it. We don't hear it much these days, except from good spiritual writers, and the saints point the way, of course. But it's for everybody, for ordinary people. When something's impossible for us to do, morally or any otherwise, in our faith, what do we do? The answer is not to compromise and to tweak it and to try and get somebody to tell us that what we want really is the truth, actually. It's not the answer, because we're just deceiving ourselves. But even more importantly than that, we're missing out on the whole point and something far, far greater, which is, I think, the whole point of why we are asked to do things morally by the Lord that are, technically speaking, beyond us. They're beyond us because we're only weak. We've got original sin, we've got our own sins, we've got all sorts of foibles and inconsistencies. So why would a loving, understanding God ask us to do things that are beyond us, really? Like the Ten Commandments. A lot of people would find them beyond us nowadays. So, well, the answer is, and I've only stumbled upon it through all the different phases which I've tried to describe on YouTube, because I just wanted to share my life, really. I'm not married or anything, so I wanted to share my life with whoever might benefit from it in any way. Sorry. So what I'm trying to say is that when we have something that's too hard for us, whether it's something small like not giving a bad-tempered answer when we're in stress, or something big like trying to be faithful in a relationship that we must be faithful for, or trying not to give in to some sort of actions that the world might think are okay nowadays, but we know that Jesus said they're not okay, and it's not consistent with our faith, or that the teaching authority of the church, of course, as Catholics, we've got that teaching authority which we can go to, which has gone down through the ages and in the Vatican councils, etc. But I don't want to do that side of it today. But anyway, so what do we do? I said we go to Jesus, of course, and we're honest with him. That's number one. And he knows. Well, why would he put us in this? Well, for a wonderful, wonderful reason that you probably don't find out until you start to do it. But you hear about it, like St. Paul says, I live now, not I, but Christ lives in me. A wonderful, wonderful reason that you gradually, by handing things up to the Lord that you can't do and looking to him like a trusting child would look to a parent, for him to help you and to give you the grace to do it, gradually your life becomes one with his life. And really, ultimately, all the very, very hard things, you have learned so much to unite yourself to him that he, in fact, does it in you. I think that's what, ideally we're working towards with death in a way that, as Carol Houselander wrote, that it's not so much us learning to suffer as letting Jesus suffer in us. And we're dying to self, not your true self. Your true self becomes stronger than ever because it's who God made you to be in the beginning. But your old self, bit by bit, letting the Lord into it, letting him take over, let go, let God. I described a full spiritual program about how to do that in that one about getting out of depression, because I had to do that with loads of negative things. And gradually I was able to open up enough for the Lord to gradually take over as I was directed to do, you know, in spiritual direction that was. And so the point is, it would be terrible if everything was easy and accessible, because we'd just be ourselves, our old selves, relying on ourselves, and we'd never really reach anything like the potential as spiritual as well as human beings. We're spiritual beings, aren't we? And we'd never supernaturally reach the potential of the huge joy and happiness and immense love that awaits us unless we're prepared to go on that journey of trying to live the way He wants and depending on Him for the grace to do it. And the sacraments, of course, essential. The sacrament of Holy Communion, where we have His life, the sacrament of confession, reconciliation, where we're healed from sin and strengthened in the journey, all the other sacraments. And of course, you see, gradually then, it is a case of He living in us, as I said, and that dying to self, and He living in us and we living in Him, is we're entering into the huge, fantastic freedom of the children of God. You know, what a freedom that one could never, ever, ever imagine. Greater than any earthly freedom. Fantastic. You know, wonderful. I mean, I glimpse it now and again. I suppose I'm on my last legs now, and I've tried it all my life nearly to find it. So I am glimpsing it now and again, but I could lose it any minute if I started to rely on myself instead of Him. So that wonderful freedom of the children of God. Wow. No more hang-ups, no more of your old self dragging you down, all these different bits and bobs that happen to us, overcoming us. No. Freedom, the freedom that He called us to be, to live life to the full and to live that full life through all eternity. So, I mean, you know, do you want somebody to come along and say, there, you just carry on as you are and don't try any more because it's not really possible these days and never mind, and then stick at that and that you know, die a cosy death in your bed but not get anywhere? Or do you want to come on this adventure of the freedom of the children of God? You know, do you want to come on that adventure? To start the adventure is to start seeking for truth, the full truth, in everything we do. He has spoken what the truth is, hasn't He? In all our different moral circumstances. So, and His Holy Spirit will tell you in His heart, in your heart, you know, when you pray, because of course you must pray. So, to seek Him, and if He has promised us, hasn't He? If you seek, you will find. So please do seek truth always, and know that the truth will indeed set you free, freer than you can ever imagine. I believe that. I've glimpsed it, and I'm aiming for it with your prayers. Thank you very much.